Never let anybody see you sweat.
So I was born in New York City, and I lived there until I was 8 years old. I realized that I was a much better talker than I was a listener. I don't know what to say, I just don't like what you're saying.
Sorry, Your Honor.
I ended up going to law school at Georgetown, and I was a prosecutor for Janet Reno. I loved it because it was so raw. Were you cheating on her?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
All rise.
Our show will be a mixture of education, I think you're misreading the law a little bit, and entertainment. My main goal is justice and the law. That's been my legacy, and the legacy I hope to continue into the future with the show.
Stacey Chamberlain claims her Thanksgiving took a painful turn when her boyfriend's aunt injured her. Jenna Miller says her nephew's girlfriend was intoxicated and verbally abusive throughout the entire meal.
Okay, Ms. Chamberlain, you are suing Ms. Miller for $1,100 in damages that you say she caused to you, personal injuries that she caused to you. Tell me the relationship between the two of you.
The defendant is someone that I once considered family. My boyfriend, who's also a witness here today, this is his aunt.
His aunt, all right. So what happened here in your family? Because there was apparently a rift before this particular dinner.
Yeah, so honestly, there's been tension for quite a while in the family. About 9 months before Thanksgiving, we got the worst news that we could possibly get as potential parents. I was about 3 months pregnant, and we went in for our level 2 ultrasound. The doctor told me that our child had a very rare disease called SMA. Not much of a chance of survival after the first day. So we had to make the unfortunate decision to terminate the pregnancy. But this did cause a rift in the family. The defendant, as well as the rest of my boyfriend's family, was extremely unsupportive of this decision. That clashed with their beliefs.
Okay.
They made it very clear that we made the wrong choice. Some of them even called it murder. So we started going no contact with them after they started.
You started going no contact, you said?
Yeah, they were.
So nobody was speaking to each other?
No, not
Okay.
after there were social media posts, pro-life posts, so we kind of blocked them on everything.
Were they posting on your site commentary on your decision, or were they chilling you in person?
It was mainly on their own social media accounts, posting a lot of pro-life quotes, which were
Well, can't
a
they
direct
have
dig
their
at us.
beliefs too?
They can, indeed,
Okay.
but it was a personal decision to take some time away from the family.
Right.
Just for a couple months to kind of cool down. We needed the space emotionally.
Were they more direct than what you're describing? Did they ever say you made the wrong decision to your
Yes.
faces? And,
Yes,
yeah,
they
okay.
texted us multiple times
Okay.
telling us we made the wrong decision, including calling us murderers.
Okay. Did she call you a murderer?
Yes,
Okay.
mainly the defendant here.
Okay. So you're not talking to each other. That goes on for months,
Correct.
right? And then what happens?
About 3 months before Thanksgiving, the defendant did reach out about a Thanksgiving dinner that she was hosting, and we didn't want to hold a grudge forever. We thought that things could possibly be resolved, so we did agree.
Had people been reaching out and trying to unite you all as a family again, or not really?
Not so much after we blocked the family. She did call us from an anonymous number to invite us to Thanksgiving, and we
Okay.
decided to give it another chance.
Okay. All right. And so you show up for Thanksgiving.
Correct.
And?
It was a little bit awkward at first, I'm not going to lie. So I did have a couple glasses of wine, but I wasn't.
How many's a couple?
A couple's 3. I wasn't drunk by any means, but
Okay.
I wasn't bone cold sober. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not proud of it, but I was putting in a little bit of jabs towards her cooking, but it was all
Why
lighthearted.
would you do that?
It was lighthearted, you know.
There's no lighthearted. If I spend all day cooking, there's no lighthearted joke you can make about my cooking. I'm cooking, and you're eating my food in my house. What was she saying to you?
She said numerous things. She complained about everything. She said the house was too cold, the music was boring, the food was tasteless, it tasted like
The food
cardboard.
was tasteless.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
In fact, she literally said, I hope that the bird is not a dry brick like it was last year.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
After everything we've been through, and I was giving an olive branch to them, I invited them to stay.
Well, it's not just that. You're also cooking, and you're hosting a dinner, and the last thing you want to
Exactly.
hear is that kind of rudeness. Where were you? Stand up. That's boyfriend, right?
Correct. This is
Right.
Charlie.
What's your name?
Yes, Your Honor, my name is Charlie Gonzalez.
Okay, this is your aunt, right?
Yes.
You love your aunt?
We've had a long...
I didn't ask you that. I said, do you love your aunt?
No, unfortunately.
No.
No.
Wow. I didn't expect that one. That's a curveball. All right. So, but you're invited to dinner at her place for Thanksgiving, and it's awkward because of the problems in the family, and she's drinking. How much is she drinking?
Like she said, she only had a few glasses of wine.
And where were you when this stuff is brewing between the two of them?
Well, so I was trying to stay in my own lane, if I'm being honest, but...
What does your own lane mean? It means you don't get involved, and so
He's
you're not
non-confrontational.
uncomfortable?
Yeah,
Sometimes you got to be involved, right? Especially it's your family.
Right, but it was not just my girlfriend that was making snide remarks. It was the whole family against us as well throughout the entire
So why don't you
night.
get up and leave?
Coming up on Justice for the People.
So if family's really important, then everybody has to act like family's important. You can't say that and then say, I hope your bird isn't as dry as it was last year.
If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. This is Justice for the People with Judge Milian. We're back with the case of Stacey Chamberlain, who brought Jenna Miller to court over a Turkey Day tussle.
So why don't you get up and leave and say, listen, it might be a bit early for this. I wish you all a happy Thanksgiving, and then just leave. Why does it have to escalate to where it got?
Well, family was really important to the both of us.
Okay, if it's really, okay, it's one or the other, right? So if family's really important, then everybody has to act like family's important. You can't say that and then say, I hope your bird isn't as dry as it was last year, right? Like that's not, you're not acting like family's important. You just want to say the phrase family's important, but then you're not acting like family's important. That goes for you too, by the way, because I see you bobbleheading, but the truth is, if people make a personal decision in their life and you feel that you have the right to comment on it, once is enough. And making them feel worse about something that it was their decision to make, both morally and under the law, and you may not feel that way, but the law allowed them to make that decision, you know, enough's enough, right? I'm talking about staying in your lane. It escalated, right?
Yeah, to be fair, it did escalate. The dry turkey comment was supposed to be under my breath to my boyfriend. I understand she overheard it, but her response...
Maybe you shouldn't say it.
I do understand that in retrospect.
You're so rude. It's so rude.
Yeah.
And it's not conducive to what... Everybody's purpose at this dinner was to try to mend. So why does it come from your heart to even say something like that?
Honestly, it's an emotional place. The last couple months have been emotional for me.
Right, so either don't go if you cannot handle it, or, you know, don't say anything if you can't say anything nice. But you're literally there to mend, so why would there even be the snide comment under your breath? It's crazy. It's one or the other. You either want to mend or you don't. If you want to mend, you have a funny way of showing it. Now, what happens? You're in the kitchen.
We're in the kitchen. I do make the remark about the turkey. I'll admit to that. And she came back with something completely outrageous. She said in front of the entire family, well, at least I'm not a murderer.
Ooh.
It did not happen in that exact order.
What order did it happen in? When did you call her a murderer?
I did use that word, but it was much later in the evening, and it was after I had asked them to leave because I felt she was emotionally abusing me in my own home after I had opened it up to them to try to reconnect as a family, because family has been important to us for always. I remember Charlie when he was little, and I want this resolved, so I put aside a core value that's very important to me, welcomed them into my home, and was insulted, and I felt like I was taking it okay. I was letting, you know, water roll off a duck's back. And then that last comment about the bird last year, I said, that's enough. If you are gonna stay here and drink and insult me, I'm not gonna have it. And I want you to stay somewhere else. And I asked them to leave. And she did.
Did they leave?
She left the room. I assumed to go get their things, that was gonna be the end of our trial.
Right.
But she came back downstairs. She was not stable. I I don't believe she had only 3 drinks.
Did you think she was drunk?
I think she was drunk. And she said to me, I think you're overreacting. She said, quote, "You're just a sensitive old bag," and came towards me.
Did you say that to her?
Well, if I'm being called a murderer, to be honest, I did say that. I stood up and I did come towards her. I was upset, but my hands were down.
How close did you get to her?
Maybe 3 feet away to her, I would say. He's my witness. He saw the whole thing happen. I got within 3 feet of her.
So as close as you got was 3 feet away, and how much further away than that had you come from?
I was maybe sitting across maybe from the distance that you are right now to the defendant.
So you got up, you got towards her, and you were saying what?
I've said some things I regret.
What?
I called her an old bag. I did, but this is after I got called a murderer, and I did come towards her, but that is when she threw a heavy glass casserole dish at me, which caused me to fall down and break my wrist.
I don't believe she would have fallen if she hadn't been drinking, and I felt I was defending myself.
But did you
That's
think she was
ridiculous.
coming? Hold on one second. Did you think she was coming at you?
I felt like she was coming at me.
Tell me, do you mind me pressing you into service here? I want you, come to the center. I want you to come, yes, you can stop right there. And then I want you to do for me so that I have a sense what she did to you. So pretend he's you and you're her. Go ahead.
Okay. She says, "You're just too sensitive anyways, you sensitive old bag." I don't feel that's 3 feet.
Okay.
And I was there with a casserole and pushed it into her, defending myself.
Okay.
Just automatic reaction.
So you pushed her with the casserole?
I shoved the casserole into her, yes.
Okay, go ahead. You can go back. Thank you.
No problem.
It was just an automatic fight or flight.
Yeah. And then she tripped, and then she, what did you do? You broke your wrist?
I broke my wrist. We left immediately after that. We got our stuff.
Why didn't
and
you leave
left.
before that?
Coming up,
Why is it so out of the realm of possibility that she thinks you're going to attack her? Why is that so off on her part?
I'm not the one with the violent streak in the family.
this is Justice for the People with Judge Milian. We're back with a case of Stacey Chamberlain, who brought Jenna Miller to court over a Turkey Day tussle.
She describes a scenario where you're a lot closer than 3 feet. Would that be accurate, the distance she was standing? Because if she jabbed you with the casserole dish, then...
It was a throw. She threw the casserole dish into me, which caused me to fall over and break my wrist. We actually do have
Well, do you think
the
your
medical
alcohol
reports.
consumption contributed to that as well?
I don't believe that 3 glasses impaired me to that point. I wasn't throwing any punches. I wasn't raising my fists at her. I came towards her because I was upset. We had been through an emotional loss.
Right, but you're coming.
fairly
I
recently.
understand everything you're saying. That is a reason to leave. It is not a reason to barge back in after you've been thrown out and come at her, calling her. You're walking up to her. Why is it so out of the realm of possibility that she thinks you're going to attack her when you're coming towards her? Why is that so off on her part?
She has lashed out on other family members.
Adults?
Yes, adults, not just children.
Physically?
Physically, yes. Especially if people...
Did you know that?
I was told after.
Oh.
I didn't know she was going to get violent with me.
Have you two been together?
3 years.
No, and this issue never came up beforehand? Because maybe you would talk about how moist the turkey was if you knew.
Yeah. We don't spend too much time at her house, honestly,
With the
anymore.
family in general, yeah.
So are you talking to the other members of the family?
No, not at this point, no.
His mom, her sister, is pretty much on her side as well. They both are very religious. They have different political beliefs than us.
Right, but we can have different political beliefs, different fundamental beliefs of our faith or whatever. We can have that and still love somebody.
Coming up,
I believe that life is sacred, and I am pro-life, and I don't feel that I have to apologize for that.
I don't feel that you do either.
this is Justice for the People with Judge Milian. We're back with a case of Stacey Chamberlain, who brought Jenna Miller to court over a Turkey Day tussle.
Sometimes the best thing is the cutoff. for a while. Because if she goes into your house, gets plastered, and insults your cooking, and insults your home, and you tell her to leave, and she doesn't, and instead she comes at you and calls you a hag, maybe you do need to cut for a while until she matures. How old are you?
24.
Yeah. If people aren't willing to do what it takes to mend, then maybe it is too soon. You know, so what's the deal, Charlie? Now you don't even talk to your mother?
No, so my family has a long history of weaponizing their beliefs against not only just me, but just anyone in general that doesn't share the same ideologies as them. They like to harass people and be rude. So that's when I made the decision to cut them out.
I believe that life is sacred, and I am pro-life, and I don't feel that I have to apologize for that.
I don't feel that you do either. He called it weaponizing.
I think it's...
He wants you to have your beliefs, but he doesn't want you to judge his different beliefs. Is that just impossible? Have we reached that point where it's just impossible?
It seems like it.
I said my opinion in the beginning. We all disagreed. There was a lot of strife in the family. They chose to cut us off. Pretty extreme, I think. Then months go by, and I make a great effort to bring them back into the fold.
Yeah,
that's
can I
my
just
action.
ask you a question? If because that is she is trying to do what you didn't do. She's trying to create a forum where everybody has a family again.
Judge Milian's verdict when justice for the people returns. This is Justice for the People with Judge Milian.
I'm not clear on who the aggressor is, I'll be honest with you, but for you to collect, you have to prove to me that she is the aggressor. Both of you, in fact, all three of you, describe a situation where you are coming at her in her kitchen after she's asked you to leave. It makes it extremely hard for me to find her to be the aggressor. So I am ruling in favor of the defendant. Now, I want to say something to you folks, okay? Life is long. And the idea that you never, ever talk to each other again seems like a really permanent solution to this problem. There should be, in a family, a place where people can disagree and not continue to argue about it. Because you know yourself. You know you're hurt. You know that if you drink, it's going to be worse. You shouldn't have been drinking. You should have had one drink and let it go at that because there was too much at stake. You talk about her and her views that you find wrong and ridiculous and whatever else you think, but she, despite those views, wanted you guys back in her life. You're the one who then walked in there and made things go south. Verdict for the defendant.
Judge Milian has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim is denied.
Next holiday, I hope we can try again.
We have $1,100 worth of medical bills, so until you pay that, we are still going to be no contact. I'm sorry.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.